Hey guys, this is CamFree15. I am back at it with another video for you guys, and we are back with the Flash Season 7 episode review for you guys. And what I thought was a pretty good episode where we get introduced to another force, this episode, the Still Force, and also we officially get the namings of all, well, the last force still has yet to be revealed. Well, we have all the other forces, announced are, to their comic accurate forces, like the Strength Force, the Sage Force, and the Still Force. So we got one more force to go. Anyways, this is Flash episode 6 of season 7. Now, we all know from last week, Barry, he went back into his comatose state because of the effects of what happened last week. So yeah, now Nora / the Speed Force says it's trying to heal him, and it's going to take some time before he eventually is fully healed and stuff like that. Now, in terms of what Chester and Cisco do this episode, because the episode was focused around them, is we see at the start of the episode actually that this lady's just talking, and lo and behold, she sees a Roman soldier pass by, then a freaking submarine, and then a whole ass dinosaur from Jurassic Park. The only thing that sucks about the dinosaur roaring wasn't this dinosaur that freaking had the Jurassic Park roar for the T-Rex. I wish they really had that, but okay, fine. Anyways, Chester and Cisco, they go to like a location to make this device to help notify the team, like when people with the forces are showing up and stuff like that. But they end up getting caught in this green wave that hits them, and lo and behold, they're taken back in time to the city they're in the year of 1998, which is surprisingly enough the year I was born. So yeah, that's pretty cool. That's it. It was cool to see that. I like the whole aspect that what they do later in the episode is to find out, after rebuilding the sensor thing, is they're gonna ask people in this time period questions to be like, okay, who's the person cousin? And the one who's going off the charts with obviously the isotopes and everything, that's when we'll tell like it's really them committing the act. So that's what they do. They go around the school asking people around like, yo, like what do you want to do in like the next 20 years? So you get this funny stuff going on and everything. Now, what happens is they're in the gym, Cisco and Chester, they see the manager, I'm guessing the manager of the football team, this guy named Parker. Essentially, they get the high readings from him, so they go and talk to him, and essentially, we see he's like, whoa, I'm doing nothing, and next thing you know, you see the green wave reappear, and then boom, it just reverses time back to the start. But the difference is Cisco has his mind of him when he was a 7-year-old. Eventually, Chester helps him go back to his old self pretty easily and stuff like that. And that's when they find out that anybody essentially trying to leave this barrier that is making the time zone look like 1980 or feel like 1998, it's just resets and stuff like that. And 2, Chester had the device on him which protected his whole psyche from being, I guess, like Cisco essentially. But the only problem is it's broken now, so they gotta fix it again. So that was pretty crazy. Now we're led to believe that it's Parker that is the guy who has the Still Force powers. Okay, that's all right, fine and dandy as can be. Which I'll get into later, that it wasn't really him and stuff like that. So, and 2, actually, no, that's my bad. But anyways, the situation they're in there is essentially like WandaVision. If you saw that MCU Disney Plus TV show, essentially it's WandaVision just with a little time spin on it. But hey, cool. Obviously they ripped something off of Disney. Okay. But yeah. Anyways, they go to this whole department store to find a power converter to fix the device. But then, Chester sees somebody that's awfully familiar to him, and we find out the person who bought the last power converter is Chester's father, who we find out from Chester he died near this time. and stuff like that. And two, he says he doesn't have the best relationship with his dad because his dad never interacts with him, his dad never talked to him, nothing, and stuff like that. So it's pretty freaking crazy and stuff like that. And you know, Cisco's like, okay, if it's too much for you, then I can go get it from him and stuff like that. But then we see Chester go on his own, on his own, and we get some development for Chester here, which it was a very good episode for development of Chester. Like Chester, he's obviously the next, funny comedic character, but we did really need a background on Chester, and we got it in this episode. So, Chester talks to his dad and essentially talks to his dad about, himself and stuff like that. Like his dad brings about his son and everything. And again, and essentially, this scene really reminded me of the scene back in Avengers Endgame. Funny enough, this show this episode pulls two things out of Marvel from the MCU from Marvel. The whole WandaVision type of bubble hex thing, and then this whole conversation. Because if we remember back in Avengers Endgame, when Iron Man and Captain America went to that one time period, you had Tony get some clarity, some more understanding about who his dad truly was, and how much his dad cared about, him. And it was a similar scene to this, where, Chester's dad's like, yeah, I'm not always there for him, but I want to have this power converter for him, so, he's able to do his own things because I care about him and stuff like that. And I want to be there for him and everything, which was a nice thing. Chester ended up hugging him, which he's like, bruh, this is weird. And it's funny too, because also when he first meets him, he's like, who are you? And essentially Chester calls himself John Boyega, which I thought was a funny thing. Anyways, he gets the power converter, they fix the device, they get the signal, and we thought, like I said earlier in the video, we all thought that it was Parker that was the guy who's having the still force. No, it's the football player of the guy named Dion who has the power. Well, I mean, not the power force, the still force. And essentially, what his plan is, he's trying to go back in time and rewrite history, because he had a very devastating injury in football, and essentially the backup quarterback was the star of the show, and he got most of the talking instead of him and stuff like that. And he wants to try to change it and everything, but at the same time, not knowing what he's doing is also changing the present, because essentially it's making, like, Iris and the others look like people from the 1990s and the 1980s and stuff like that. And then we find out too, if Chester and Cisco doesn't stop, they could end up in the friggin' Stone Age, for crying out loud. So they can end up in the past because of this. Again, I don't understand why they call it the Still Force. They should call it the Time Force. It sounds much more better, in my opinion. Like, honestly, no, they're getting this from the comics. So what already happened in the comics happened in the comics. So in the comics, they call it Still Force. If it was me, I would call it the Time Force, because you're literally messing with time. Now, obviously, some people might not like the fact, and most people this season has not liked the fact that so far how the Flash in season 7 has handled taking down villains is doing the typical, hey, it's okay, you don't have to do this, yada yada yada. But I think here it was appropriate to use this, where you have Chester try to calm Dion down by using his example of what happened to him and his dad to what Dion says and stuff like that. And I found it hilarious that Dion is like, I was gonna be the next Patrick Mahomes. I'm like, really? You're gonna be the next Patrick Mahomes? Oh, brother, cry me a river. Yeah, right. Yeah, like you're gonna be the next Patrick Mahomes. Get this. But I found that hilarious. So, yeah, but anyways, Chester talks him down, but it works. That's good. The bad thing is now Dion knows the true lengths of what he can do with his still force powers, and it's like, oh, he just created a fucking problem now. Now this motherfucker can mess with time whenever he feels free to. Shit. which essentially makes him the strongest Force user so far, because essentially he can revert time if he wanted to. And guess what? If he gets beat, oh wait, I can just reverse time and act like that never happened. These damn Forces are overpowered motherfuckers. You got the Strength Force, who can literally, as strong as shit, can take freaking, you know, crisis-like particles, freaking bombs to the freaking face and not be affected to it. The Sight guy, the Sage Force, you can't even motherfucking do anything to that guy because he can just make you live your fears. And then the Still Force, this dude can just rewind time whenever he wants to if he loses. I can only imagine what the last Force is. I don't even know what the last Force is, but okay. So eventually what happens is they manage to go back. They managed to stop him. Things were reverted back to, I guess, 2020 or 2021. So that's good. Yeah. So what happens next? Over the course of those scenes, you had essentially Iris walking around with Nora / the Speed Force and stuff like that. And essentially the whole thing with that storyline is Nora / the Speed Force feels like she's been a burden on Barry because she takes the, you know, look of his mother and she's like, oh, am I hurting him? And Iris is like, no, you're not hurting him. You know, he's gotten over that and stuff like that. I wasn't really too much invested in that kind of storyline, but apparently there's hintings going on that something's not right with the Speed Force, and there could be alternative motives and stuff like that. We'll just find out what happens next, because we see in the next episode she's giving off different color lightning other than just regular flash lightning she should be given. So again, very interesting with what's going on there. So that's a thing. And then the end of the episode after Barry and two, also with the Speed Force thing, Barry, because Iris is like, hey, why don't you come over to our place and sleep over there? Barry gives a look like, why did you do that? That's another thing to be suspicious about might be going on with the Speed Force. It seems like the Speed Force is gonna give Barry some problems, so yeah. And anyways, the episode ends off with Killer Frost talking to Joe, and Joe's saying, yeah, the CIA lady, she's looking for you and she's looking to turn you in. And essentially, Joe's trying to tell Killer Frost, listen, lay low, I'll do what I can to get her to go away. But Killer Frost is like, I don't give a damn. If she wants to find me, she can come find me. I'm gonna still be out here. I ain't gonna run away. That's kind of where the episode ends off. So I thought it was a really good episode. Very expanded very much on the character of Chester and the backstory on who he became to be. And I did like the moment. The episode did pull out some things from the MCU, like WandaVision and the little dad-son scene from Avengers Endgame. But I thought it was a solid episode. Definitely can't wait to see what the next Force is. What could the Speed Force be hiding, I'm guessing? And then, you know, will the CIA lady eventually find Killer Frost? That's definitely going to be a side plot going on in the future. But other than that, I'm gonna get it first. If you guys like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on this week's episode of The Flash, as well as hit that subscribe button to get more Flash content, as well as the other CWDC TV shows like Supergirl, Superman and Lois whenever that returns, and Batwoman. Other than that, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Until then, guys, I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.